that starts at 6 and skips 5. Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to the Unlock Your Freedom podcast with Kevin Keppel. Man, I'm so excited to sit down with two marketing experts today, Paul and Shreya. How are y'all?
Hey, doing great.
Doing fantastic. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm really excited to learn with and from you. And why don't you kick it off? And why don't you guys tell us a little bit about who you be and how you serve?
All right. So Shreya, why don't you go ahead and start there? We'll go ladies first here.
Oh gosh, you throw me under the bus. So we are founders and co-owners of Marketing Counts, and we serve as fractional CMOs, and we're really good at building teams for people, like marketing teams. So my background is completely not marketing at all. Paul has years and years of marketing. He'll tell you a little bit about it. My background is more on processes. So back in college, I was doing mechanical engineering of all things. And so from jumping from mechanical engineering to marketing, you could say, yes, it's a big leap. But I had a corporate career for over 12 years. My job was more process oriented. I was working for aviation industry and power industry. My job was to go into facilities that were not meeting the numbers and figure out why were they not meeting the numbers, where the break was in the process, and figure out how to fix that break so that we start meeting the numbers. So I'm very more focused on Lean Six Sigma. I am a black belt in Lean Six Sigma. And all that means is I'm good with common sense and fixing things. That's all that means.
She's a black belt, so.
Yeah.
No. So Paul and I met 4 years ago. We both had our different paths. I was getting back into marketing about 6 years ago. My son was born. He's 7 now. And everybody, I feel like at some point in their life had that feeling of work-life balance, trying to figure that out. And even though I did love my job, I was having a hard time figuring out that work-life balance, because in manufacturing, meeting starts at like 6 a.m., 7 a.m., right? So you have to be at work. And even though you love doing it, you're like, well, I miss out on a bunch of stuff, right? So, and then taking times off, it's crazy. You can't, you have to put the request in and all that. So it was hard. So I wanted to go back into just something where I was in charge of my own time, and I was free to do whatever I want. If I wanted to take some time off, I could. And luckily I'm in that position right now where I go, hey, Paul, I'm off for an hour. You're it, right? And that type of freedom is the most important to me. So that's what I started working towards and got it back into internet marketing. And met Paul at a live event 4 years ago where we started Marketing Counts. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that brings me to where my journey started at a young age. I was in second grade, and I saw kids showing up to class without pencils, and I started selling pencils in second grade. So that's really where the entrepreneurial bug started for me, 8 years old. And then it transitioned to, I was actually in junior high, started doing marketing at the age of 13. And I've been in marketing for, over 24 years now. So, so I've been at it for quite a while. And throughout the journey, I've launched a lot of courses, created a lot of content, I've had, the millions and millions in sales and revenue through course sales, and hundreds of thousands reach, which is the most important part globally. And that's the power of working online. And then I took a year or so off and produced a feature film, decided to go that route for a little while just to challenge myself. And it's still challenging me, but that was just kind of the trajectory I took. And then there I was in 2018 when Shreya and I met, and we decided, like, I was always been kind of a solopreneur in a sense, like the person that's like, oh, I can do this myself, this and that. But I knew there was an impact that I wanted to make. And Shreya has that Six Sigma, Lean Six Sigma, that process background that I needed. And it's amazing that when you make those connections and partnerships, what happens. And that's why, if you want to be an entrepreneur, going out to live events, meeting people, interacting, you never know who you're going to run against, showing up. Here we are showing up on a podcast. We're making a connection with you. You just don't know who you're going to connect with. So you got to get out and talk to people, whether it's on Zoom or in person. And that's what led us to where we are. It's amazing. It's been an amazing journey. And I'm more passionate about marketing than I was at 13. So I love it.
Yeah, really cool, you guys. Thanks for giving us a little color and background on both of you. And, I think that's so powerful. You mentioned
Yeah.
in second grade that, you kind of found your daemon, right? Like that,
Mm-hmm.
that's so important that we understand, like when we were kids, we got it, like
Yeah.
whatever you were really excited about as a kid, it's probably where your genius is living. And,
Right.
then the rules get imposed on us like, no, you get a job. You're not supposed to like your job. Just work there for 30 or 40 years and you get the gold watch. Like, oh, we don't do the gold watches anymore either though. And, just work there, be a little miserable and try not to die. And you get to retire. Doesn't that sound awesome? It's like,
Yeah.
absolutely not.
Right.
And to the mechanical engineering background, I have a really good friend who's a reformed mechanical engineer as well. And I absolutely love hanging out with him because he definitely thinks in such a pragmatic way and he can break down anything in such a phenomenal way. So I see the benefit for you guys. It's like the visionary and the integrator kind of complement that you guys
Yes.
bring. That's really, really
Yep.
powerful. So let's talk about what you guys are really excited about right now. What are y'all working on?
Yeah. So, lately, one of the things we're so passionate about is educating, right? So educating the masses. So we're working with several colleges on getting our curriculum in there. We've actually in over 140 high schools, and that's really truly teaching the next generation. So our model is not as much. Yes, we do services for people in the marketing realm, but our passion is truly teaching and impacting in that way. So you talked about the college, right? Or the rules, right? They get imposed, and those rules are, hey, go to school. And a lot of the rules taught around marketing that we found is the rules that are incorrect, right? So they're teaching people that when they teach marketing, they don't teach an approach where you can afford to lose, where they basically teach an approach that's going to be mass scale, right? And I'll let Shreya kind of dive into that one. But
They teach so that you could go serve a big business.
right.
Majority of the companies in America, they're small businesses. It's not catered toward small businesses. It's catered toward a corporate giant where they have unlimited ad budget. You could just throw money at a marketing campaign and it'll work. And if it doesn't, that's okay. That doesn't fly with a small, like even a medium-sized company, right?
Yeah.
Like a small business, it won't fly because they don't have the unlimited budget. So you have to work smarter to actually make the most out of the ad money that you are spending or any marketing money that you are spending. And that doesn't get taught.
Right. They don't teach that. And so we created a formula. Well, Shreya created the formula and then we implement it together. And that's, it's called our FTE formula, and it's not full-time employee. It's a different, the letters stand for something different, more important. But we'll talk about that here in a minute. But that formula is truthfully, if large businesses adapted this, it'd be incredible. What it would do for their success in their business. And so we've learned that you got to get out of the teaching of the traffic first mentality that's taught. So right now, a lot of people are taught like just throw traffic at it, whether it's social media traffic, whether it's buying tons of clicks, traffic, whatever. That's what everybody's taught. Nobody sits back and teaches the non-sexy part of marketing, which is set your foundation and make sure that your landing page is going to convert. Make sure your messaging is spot on. And so that's the first part of our process, which is foundation. And that's where we really focus on the foundation. And so we don't go in and start throwing traffic. A lot of businesses, I call it it's the spray and pray mentality. They just go out there and throw marketing and pray it works. That's not a good way to build a sustainable business. You need to make sure that you know your customer avatar. So who are you talking to in the foundation phase? And every business, irregardless if you've been in business for 10 years, 20 years, or just started, you should understand who your avatar is and revisit that frequently because that can change. And, and I'll let Shreya share a little bit about avatar, but if you know who you're talking to, then your messaging is going to be more dialed into that person. And you need to take that, go back and look at who are you speaking to, because that's going to infiltrate your messaging on your sales copy, your ads, everything, right? Is going to start there. And so you need to know who the avatar is. And Shreya, sometimes people could have two avatars in their business, right? And that's okay because you can sell the same product, but it could reach multiple people, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So I always use the toilet paper example when we talk about the avatar It's something that applies to everybody. And I think that's the biggest mistake when people come in with a product that says my product applies to everybody. That's fantastic. It could. So does toilet paper. Yeah. But there a certain market that likes soft and cushy. That's more expensive. There's a certain market that likes the really, cheap one. I don't care if it's soft and cushy, but it's a different market segment. And as a company, if I'm targeting to the soft and cushy market, my advertising is going to be different than if I was marketing to a person who only cared about the cost of the toilet paper, right? So you can have two different avatars, but name them differently and market to them differently, because you're gonna talk to them at a different level. They're gonna connect to you at a different level.
And it's really dialing that in. And when you really dive into that avatar, then your business will thank you later for it. Or you will thank your business later for it once you dial that in. That's just one part of the foundation. So
yeah, I love that you touched on the spray and pray approach, because I think every business owner can resonate with that on some level, and definitely me included. For the longest time, like pretty much from age 15 to 30, I was like, well, you know what, through sheer effort, I'll just win that way, just by like doing more and more and more and more. And I was really busy, but I wasn't that productive. And I kept getting all these, square pegs crammed in round holes, and, like, well, I'll just force it. And, it's just like such a hard way to work, and it's not efficient. It's not effective. And you're totally misaligned with like your truth. And then you're missing, your target over and over again, because you don't even know what you're shooting at. And so I love that y'all talked about avatars, because if I start with flawed information, it's really hard for me to get to the right destination. Like one of y'all is in Michigan and one of y'all is in Seattle. But if I try to drive to Seattle with a map of, going to Michigan, I'm going to Michigan.
Yeah.
And so can y'all touch on the avatars a little more? And what's like the first step if somebody's looking to get clarity on their avatar? Where do y'all kind of go there?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we take a very simple approach. Okay. Just open a Google Doc or a Word doc or whatever, somewhere, or a pen and paper, whatever it works for you. And just go down saying, what does your customer want? Right. There's only like 5 things on it. Right. Yeah. We talk about, go ahead. I can benefits.
So the main one is like, what are they seeking? What is the problem they're trying to solve?
Yes.
So think through, what is the problem that your avatar, in your opinion, is trying to solve? And especially for a business that's been around for a while, this is even easier, should be easier, because you're going to know, okay, when customers call you, email you, transact with your business online, what is it that they're trying to accomplish? So what is your product offer that's accomplishing that goal? So that would be a list of things like, if somebody wants a marketing agency, they want more leads, they want more traffic, they want more exposure, they want more vanity, they want to feel better, right? So they want more. Everybody's got slightly different needs, but that's, kind of what we find everybody wants in some semblance of order, right? So that's one avatar, that's one way to start your avatars, is determine what they want. So go down the list of what do they want, what benefits are they seeking that you can provide. And so then the next thing, go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to really say that it's very important to focus on benefits and not so much features, because a lot of time when we lead the marketing, we lead with features of the classic example is the iPod and the Zoom when it came out. I don't know if anybody remembers Microsoft Zoom. I had one, but Zoom had way better features than the iPod did. But iPod led with benefits by saying, now you can carry your entire CD collection in the palm of your hand, versus Zoom saying, oh, now you have, so many megabytes, gigabytes, or whatever of data in your hand, right? Completely different, like leading with benefits versus features. And that's something that we do put in our in the customer avatar sheet.
And you determine that based on what your audience you think wants, right? Because if you can determine what they want, what they're seeking by your services, then at that point, you can now write a message that's going to feature those benefits that solves that problem. So the number one thing is identify what is their main problem that they're trying to solve and what's their secondary problem. So determining what those are is the quickest way to get your avatar off the ground and get it going. So that's the first step. The next step is understanding what websites and platforms they frequent, because that's going to give you a determination of what kind of messaging resonates with them. So, like, let's say that somebody's trying to lose weight. Like they typically, there's the app called, is it Noom? I can't remember the name, But there's these different apps. There's an app out
Noom.
there. What's it called? Noom.
Noom, I think.
Okay, yeah. So there's that app that's out there, right? So you would know, okay, people trying to lose weight are going to have this app. Why is this app so popular to those people? We'll go look at their website and see, what kind of product, what kind of other businesses do they frequent? So understanding where they hang out, who they also do business with, super important. And if you can determine that, you're going to be way ahead of the competition, because that's going to give you kind of that leg up to see what interests them, and then how is that messaging also, interesting to them. It's also going to end up going into your overall marketing plan, because when you start to run ads, you can actually target people that follow Noom, or target people that drink Slim Fast, or target people that, if that's your niche, right? That the fitness weight loss niche was it, then you can really narrow that down. And so, that, if I'm wanting to, lose weight, then Planet Fitness might be something people would go to. So those are things you just have to think through, like what would they do if they're in that process? Let's say you had a course on fitness or health or dieting or something. That would be how you would go through that process. What stores do they go to? What apps do they have on their phone? And by putting that down, not only does it give you intel into how do you write messaging that resonates with them, because you see what they're doing, but more importantly, what it does is it gives you that targeting. So when you go to run Instagram and Facebook ads and other ad platforms, you say, I want to find users that like the Noom app, or use the Noom app, that also like Planet Fitness, that also that drink Slim Fast. Let's just say, throw an example out there. Bam, there's your target. Now you know who you're reaching. And we also take it a step further. So then we narrow down to what shows do they watch. So let's say somebody in the dog training niche, they're going to watch the Dog Whisperer, Cesar Millan, right? So they're going to watch that person. Then you break it down to what influencers are they following. Everybody in every single niche market has a certain leader, a thought leader in that market that they follow. I don't care if it's personal development, fitness, look at, even in the fitness industry, you have Jillian Michaels, who's extremely popular, right? Everybody knew who she was, right, in the fitness space. So, okay, there are certain celebrities in every market people follow. So if you can narrow those things down, you're already going to be even further ahead, because then you can run ads that target those celebrities too, along with those product brands you like, along with people that are interested in whatever it is you're trying to reach. And so now your targeting pool expands greatly, and it's going to make your messaging stronger because you know who you're speaking to. And then the final determination is understanding what age they are, because trying to run ads and trying to run a business for all ages can be difficult. Or if you do reach all ages, you have different messaging for the different ages, because, McDonald's, let's say, for example, when they used to market to children, right? Because they knew that would get in the door. Now their marketing has transitioned and changed, because they know those children have grown up, and now children don't want anything to do with that, which is interesting now, right? And so, my kids included. But it's funny. So they changed their marketing to reach adults differently. They have more adult-friendly menus, more different foods that reach this generation. I don't know what's going to happen when that generation moves on, but they've had to change their messaging to match their audience. And that's just a classic example of what you have to do. And so that's where understanding who your audience is point number one, because that is what's going to go on your sales copy. And we'll talk about that, your landing pages. And that's what goes into your videos and everything that you do at the foundation phase before you even drive traffic. Because if you don't have this set, you can run all the traffic in the world and it's going to be useless.
Yeah, absolutely. What a great analogy with McDonald's. And if the kids are now adults still eating McDonald's, that generation is not going to be around too much longer, probably.
No.
But that's a side note. Anyway,
Yeah.
It's just a humble opinion.
Exactly. Yeah, that's an interesting market. I wouldn't have stock in them.
Probably not, but oh well. Anyway, so one of the things that really stood out when you were just sharing was, of course, speaking to the transformation or the problem that you're solving. I think that's obviously crucial, and really recurring what I see over and over again. For the people that I work with, they all have different lives, obviously, but it's fairly universal, and it's kind of the big four problems they're looking to solve, just said differently. And it's always time, right? I need more time, or less time doing this, and then relationships. I want to be better at relationships. I want to find a relationship, whatever, and then performance. I want to perform at higher levels, and then health. Those big four. Outside of those, do you see anything else really frequently that people are really looking to transform?
Yeah, outside, it's time, it's monetary freedom, the health, relationships is a big one too. That's always important to people. So those are all those are the big ones. The other one that I think people need to look at, there's that the hierarchy of needs, right? People have, and I feel one thing we find, and this goes into play with how people turn around with their marketing, and that's vanity. They want to feel liked, they want to feel loved, they want to feel, every human has that desire, right? I mean, they've done studies on even babies, that are neglected when they're little. Like everybody has that human desire to be loved and appreciated and feel special. And so two things I'm going to share on that. One is in your marketing, if your messaging can make people feel special, then you're winning, right? Big time. And in your business, if you obviously offer something that makes people feel special and gives them recognition, makes them feel good, you're going to be winning big time. But the other thing is a lot of times our needs as a business owner, a lot of times people have that need of wanting to be recognized. So they start to market incorrectly. And so they start to market on social media first or something like that, which is not the best place to start because people want that validation from social media. But the reality, and then they end up, realizing they're not getting the likes or the results, and they're saying marketing doesn't work. And so they start down that path because it makes them feel good, or they just feel like that's marketing. But that's not where your audience is typically finding you first. Social media is great for engaging with your followers, but it's where you find them that really counts, because when you find them on Google, YouTube, Pinterest, those are what kind of platforms, Shreya, that we talked about?
Problem-solving platforms. So we've actually categorized social media into two different platforms, or two different types of platforms. One's more of a social interaction, like Facebook, IG, TikTok, right? I go there to hang out. And then one's a problem-solving platform, which is like Google, Pinterest, YouTube. If I have a problem, if I want to learn how to bake a cake, I'm going to go to Pinterest or YouTube, or go to Google and type it in, how do I bake a cake, right? So those are more problem-solving platforms. I won't go to Facebook and see, I hope I run into a cake recipe or something.
Yeah.
Facebook would be a lot more fun if they had more cake. Who wouldn't be more fun with that? So, I love that. That's such a great point. You need to, if you hang out where your customers are, obviously.
Yeah. Go where they are, and they're seeking you there too. And that's the most important thing. And we get caught up in, well, I've got to go make 5. We've had clients tell us, like, we got to post 3 times a day or 5 times a day, even on Instagram. And we're like, why? What is that going to accomplish for you when your SEO is down? So, I mean, I would much rather have somebody find me by searching what I offer than it is to have somebody stumble across my profile on Instagram, because they're not going to be as engaged at that point. They might, be interested in what I have. They might give me a follow, but it might be a lot longer for them to transact business. Whereas if they physically typed in exactly what you offer, they're probably going to walk in your store or give you a call or do business with you right there. So we need to shift the mindset to market where your customers are. Like you just hit it on the head there. So
the important key, right, is to understand the human need that we all want to be loved and feel special, but not fall into that trap. Like, provide that to your customers, but don't fall into that trap yourself by going to social media and say, I need validation from social media.
Right.
If you can master that, it's hard, it's very hard, but if you can master that, you will be very successful, that you're providing that feeling, but you're not craving it yourself, or you're getting it somewhere else. You're not going to social media trying to look for it.
You'll get more validation, though, because you're going to be actually reaching people and helping them with the service that you provide. That's the thing you're going to find. You'll find that difference where now you're actually making impact because you're marketing on platforms that make sense to your business. So, that's the key part, so you can have impact. You can make your message. We love social media. We use social media, but it's got its place in our FTE formula, right? We talked about foundation, where you understand your avatar. Traffic was like those problem-solving platforms. Engagement, that's where you get involved with social media. Like, you're engaging with them, with those that followed. You're engaging with people that love your business and love your brand and those kind of things. If you go look at Best Buy or any of those companies, right, look at how they're doing their social media. They're talking to their customers. They're not necessarily going there to post and say, hey, I hope we get a new client, a customer here. They're saying, hey, come back into our store. We got a sale for you. We got a special. Like, they're not out there fishing for a new person that wants to buy electronics. They already know what you like, so they're going to engage with you there. So that's where we need to shift that mindset and not say, Facebook and Instagram have ads. TikTok has ads. Those are fine. Like TikTok is a crazy platform, but it can get you a lot of results. But also, like Shreya said, people are there scrolling. So they might be entertained for 30 seconds by what you say, but unless on those platforms, so unless you're getting them off of those platforms, ultimately is the end goal. And that's to a lead magnet or an offer or a coupon or something that gets their email address into your database, then all that marketing effort is null and void too. You could have all the following in the world. Like we've known of people that had huge followings on Facebook, and then Facebook changed their algorithm, snap of a finger, they lost their reach with the snap of a finger. You're not building your business solidly that way. So at the end of the day, What is Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok? What do they all ask for? It's an email address. And that's because they want your personal data. So you need to get the data of your clients, because you don't want to be self-reliant on those big platforms. Because, MySpace, anybody? Clubhouse. We could go down the list here.
Yeah, MySpace is definitely the most well-known casualty in the junkyard, probably. And oh my gosh, MySpace. Yeah. That's always like a time machine when somebody says that. Yeah. I want to go back to something you guys said a minute ago. Like you said this a little differently, but I read this on the internet years ago, so it has to be true, right? That's the rules. You can't put fictional information on the internet. But it said
that's right, absolutely.
It said that the number one reason people buy is to increase status in some way, and like I feel like that's what you guys were saying. And I definitely have seen that in my experience. And it's not always a look at me status, but it's like to improve, some like self optic or optics of the way other people see you. So I want to kind of fast forward a little bit in the process. So once we have the leads, right? How do you transform the leads into customers?
It's relationship. You're going to have to build that relationship with your customer. And that's through if you collected their email address, start emailing. Like people are so scared of emailing because people will unsubscribe from their list, and it's okay. You're not going to connect with everybody, and that's okay. But you need to start building that relationship somewhere, whether you're building it on social media, whether you're building it through your email list. And as you're building those relationships and your products are out there that you've created, they are eventually going to, whenever they need it, they're going to come back and purchase it through you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people don't build the trust or deepen the connection, and they just start trying to share the vision and expect people to co-create it with them. But if we're not connected to the vision and we don't really trust you yet, then very little productive is going to happen. There's so much noise out there.
Yeah.
What about mobile? Like, where does that fit into all of this?
So, like mobile marketing, you mean?
Yeah, just like, because I think a lot of people don't realize how much people are on a laptop or even a desktop if they still make those.
Right.
So this day and age, it's very important. It's. Go ahead.
Oh no, it's just huge. Like no, it's spot on. I mean, she was right on the tail there. It's over 70% of search results in a lot of local businesses are actually. A lot of local searches, especially for the SMBs, small businesses, instigated from a phone. So where that fits in is check your website on your phone. Don't just be happy with how it looks on your website. Take a look at your phone and see if it also looks good, because your mobile experience is more important, honestly, than your regular website.
And as a small business, if you don't have Google Places now, what's it called now? It was Google My Business.
Google Business Profile. Yeah.
Google Business. Yeah. They keep changing their name like every 6 months. So if you don't have that, then you go claim it right now today. Like go do it. Because if I'm looking for a service, restaurant, salon, whatever, I'm going to go on my phone and find, a nail salon or like places to play or, whatever. So, and that's going to come up in Google My Business search, or I'm going to still keep calling it that Google Business Profile.
It just changed.
All right. So it's going to show up there. And the address is plugged in, I'm going to immediately click take me there because all the reviews are there. That's very, very important. As a local business, if you don't have that profile set up, it's free traffic. And like you said, everybody's on their phone these days. If I look for a business, I look for them on my phone. If you don't show up there and you don't have that profile, you're losing out big time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's a simple, free way to tap into mobile. Like simple, yeah. And so that's a free way. And then the other one, of course, is back to that whole avatar mantra. What you should look at is above the fold. And so on your phone, and that means your benefits, your core message, your core benefits, your why for being in business, your why you're there, why people should do business with you. That message, a succinct, short message, should show up right as in there. It should be easy to see on their phone, and it should be equally easy to see on their computer without scrolling. But more importantly, I would argue, is your phone. And another factor too is if your website is slow to load on a phone, it's actually going to hinder your Google rankings. They're actually going to rank you lower than the other competition because that's how important it is for their users to have a good experience. And so that's something you can just look this up. This is kind of a nerdy tool, but it will actually tell you how your website is. It's free. It's Google PageSpeed Insights. Just search that up. Google PageSpeed Insights. Plug in your website. Simple tip. And they will actually tell you how your site scores on mobile and desktop. And then if you have an issue on mobile, talk to your tech team. Be like, hey, this is what Google told me. What's up? Let's fix this. So,
Right.
And they'll know. Google actually tells you how to fix it. Fixing the images, load time, all this. But so I'm glad you mentioned mobile because if you can optimize that, it doesn't mean a lot of people think mobile like, oh, I got to get an app, I got to text, I got to just like, no, just optimize your site first.
So one more last thing on that. A lot of people, when they think mobile, they immediately think text campaigns, right? I'm going to collect my people's phone number, my customer's phone number in some text campaign because email's dead, right? Well, email's not dead. And
No,
you can, yes, we've done that, but it's more expensive. And there is a thing called text blindness as well. I get texts from Joanne's Fabric, gosh, every day. I don't check them. I don't know how much money they spend on sending that much to so many people every day. I don't check them, just like you don't check email. There's some things that you overuse, you get blindness to it. So it's a balance. You can't just say that's the end all be all, that I'm just going to go send texts now and that's going to solve all my problems. You got to have a good mixture of everything.
Yeah, that's a really great point too. People get overwhelmed so easy, myself included. And if I see the same thing 14 times in one day, then my brain's like, I can ignore this, because I'm going to get another one in 30 minutes anyways. So it's all good.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Man, you guys are
that's so true.
You mentioned email's not dead, and I just kind of had a chuckle. So speaking of not dead or maybe dead, talk to us about blogs. Are they still thriving and viable?
Yeah. So we'll say this, we just published 7 new blog posts in the last few weeks. So, so that's how important they are to us. So we're using them frequently and it's cool. Really great. They're relevant, and whether they read it on their phone or whether they read it, I'm on sites and blogs all the time, finding information, learning new things, learning about the latest updates and trends in the marketing world. So I'm digesting content constantly. And, we just published a few blog posts already getting visitors from our Google Analytics that we can see from our, other tools that we use to track visitors. It's a great way to engage with your following. And so, they're definitely not dead. I think what is a lot of this stuff, like the foundational things that have been around for so long, they get lost in the shuffle of what's new and what's hot. And so people follow the trends. And if you follow the trends, your business is going to be a trendy hobby business. You're not going to build a business for the long term. And so if you want to have that freedom and build a business that's going to last, then you should look at the foundational things that worked in the past, like blogging, like, YouTube videos, which are making a huge resurgence. And when it comes to blogging, when it comes to anything, provide value and you're going to get value back. Right. And so when you do that, Google's ranking blogs, they're putting them out there. Find the right keywords. The simplest way, if you're struggling with what do I write? What's that site, Shreya? It's answer the public, right?
Public.
So Yeah, I usually say ask the people, which comes out wrong. It's answer the public. That's the site. So.
Answer the public. Yeah, it gives you like hundreds of topics that you could write a blog post about. And, as long as you're providing value, that was the key. You have to provide value because you have to remember people have different learning styles. Some people like to read. Some people learn through listening to podcasts. Some people learn by watching YouTube videos, right? So people have different learning styles. And it doesn't have to be different content. You could reuse your content, create a video, write the blog. It could be write a blog post. It could be the same thing, but publish it. And as long as you're providing value, you're going to see the benefit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And some people like all of those mediums, like me. All right. I like take it any way I can get it. So I definitely think there's a lot of power in blog posts. I still read a ton myself. All right, you guys, I could talk to y'all all day, man. Y'all have lots of genius to share, but
thank you.
Respect your time. Let's bring this thing in for a landing. Let's do a quick fire round. I got just some quick questions and just a quick answer.
Okay.
First one, what's a question I could have asked that I didn't ask that you'd love to speak about?
Ooh, I love that. Man, I would say, what is our favorite traffic source? Which I think we kind of covered that, but yeah. Favorite website traffic source, SEO, search engine optimization. That goes back to your blogging point. That goes back to that point. By far our favorite traffic source. So that is, we find if you look at the metrics, not only for ours, but all our clients that we serve, the number one converting traffic aside from email marketing is actually organic traffic. So that means people physically typing in what they want. Social media is at the bottom on across the board for our clients as far as conversion rates go. And that's why we don't focus everything on social media, because we don't want to be one algorithm change away from losing our business. And yeah, you could argue that with SEO, but honestly, the principles of SEO have been the same for 20 years. It's just provide value. Don't get gimmicky. Don't, people try to game the system all the time. And it's like, so look at your organic strategy, make sure you're using keywords. I could go on a whole session on that, but that's a big topic.
Yeah, very cool. Thanks for sharing that. What's a favorite book to read, recommend, or give away for each of you?
I would say The Lean Startup. I'm from that common sense type background, and that was exactly the Toyota production system that you use in manufacturing into a startup phase. And I remember reading that book, and I go, yes. So, it's a great book.
It is a good book for sure. It's powerful. What about you, Paul?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's one that I read, and you're gonna laugh at this one. I'm forgetting the name. It was so impactful. I think it was Mark Levine that wrote it. It's about speaking, and it's like, what is it? It's like your one topic, your one message. But I used it, and it's like, it was one of those books where I learned one thing. It's about speaking. It's about your, honing your pitch and your message. And it's one thing that I've used every time I speak publicly, and it transformed my world. And so, to be honest with you, I don't read a ton of books from start to finish. I'm one of those entrepreneurs that doesn't read a ton. I read blogs. I digest content through videos and podcasts, things like that. But the majority of it is like, when I read a book, I'm usually trying to get, one thing out of it, one or two things out of it that are going to resonate with me. And when I get that, I'll latch onto that, and so that's an example of that. But now I'm butchering it because I can't think of even the name of that book. So
you'll think of it when you get in the car after the interview. That's how it works, right? You're like,
absolutely,
that's what it was. All right. What about this? You guys touched on this a little bit before, but what does freedom mean to you?
Ooh, I like
Ladies
that
first.
Okay. So freedom to me is being able to do what I want whenever I want to, and not having to answer to somebody, and having to even if I'm doing something, like even if I'm doing a meeting, not being tied to something, I could do it from anywhere. Like that's what freedom means to me, is not being tied down to a location, to a place, but being able to do what I want to do. If I want to take a call while I'm at a soccer game, that should be okay. That should be allowed, right?
Yeah, autonomy is nice.
Yeah, that's that.
Paul, what about you?
Mm-hmm.
Freedom. Yeah, we have similar ones there, and it's freedom. It's work-life integration. Really, we both talk about that, and that's like what Shreya just said. If you want to take a call there, and I saw somebody talking about this on LinkedIn recently, where they were like, I took a meeting from the car, and the person was completely deeply offended. And we realized that you're not going to be the right fit for me then, because that was my life. I had to go get my kids somewhere. And if that offended you, our relationship's not going to work. So that boils down to having that freedom to say no to people. We've said no to clients. And so it's saying yes to the people you want to work with and no to the ones you don't want to work with. And so that's complete autonomy and freedom, and work on the projects that serve you, that allow you to serve others. Right. And, work on the projects that feed your soul. That's important. Yeah. And that's that freedom. So freedom is being able to work on what you want to work on when you want to work on it. And, I'm one of those people that I'm so passionate about what I do that if, I have free time, I'm working on the business, and it's not because I have to, it's because I want to, and that's what, to me, freedom is. I found what I want to do. It's not that I have to do it. I enjoy it.
Yeah, that's really powerful. It's getting to serve the way you want to serve and serving who you want to serve. And that's beautiful when your passion mixes in with your purpose, really perfectly like that. Alrighty, last question. Where can people go to learn more about you and all y'all's greatness and engage with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys can go to marketingcounts.com and you'll get all the information you need to engage with us there. So that's marketingcounts.com, and we'd love to welcome you to our site.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll put that in the show notes for you guys. Yeah. And thanks so much for sharing. Oh gosh, man, I feel like this was a coaching call for me. So really cool. Oh. You guys were great, man. It was a lot of fun getting to learn from you and with you. So thanks so much for sharing with us.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
We appreciate it. Hey, thank you. This was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure. And thanks you guys for listening. We love you guys out there, and we'll see y'all next time on the Unlock Your Freedom podcast.